Hey, Mr. Goyal, what I wanted to ask you is, something that our correspondents were also shedding light on is the fact that, call dropping is something that we see constantly. So this is going to be a big boost to that. We're not going to see that as much anymore. We might not even see it entirely, especially when you come to hill stations and the connectivity that you see there. What do you think is going to be needed? Now, 5G is one major improvement when it comes to our communication networks. But what do you think we need to see in the future when it comes to making India #1 in terms of making communication key and having the best communication network possible?
Yeah, thanks for the question. And let me answer in 3 points. One, as I said, I say again, so far in the world, there were 2 countries who were making equipments for wireless. We have become the 3rd country for 4G. Now, when it comes to 5G, we have already launched domestic 5G. It was shown on the TV by Honorable PM here. So that is the second plus point. Third plus point, as I said before also, it is going to lead to lots of investments in the infrastructure. And customer is going to be at par with the world for any technology. Now, these 3 things together means increased investment in Make in India, increased economic development, and also we are laying foundation for 6G. Interestingly, in 6G, even the specifications are going to be made in 2025, and we hope it by 2030. But because of the policy of the government of India, because we have launched 5G, 4G here, we hope to catch up with the world in the same time. And also, the government has been very, very proactive in terms of development of the telecom sector. They have given lots of reliefs and packages reforms, as we all know. And they are also going to amend now the Indian Telegraph Act 1885. And the new law has received lots of plus points from the industry and stakeholders. All these 3 put together, India is now pride country in the world to catch up with everywhere. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that response, Mr. Goyal. Now, I also want to cross over to our correspondent, Nikhil Lakwani. Nikhil, so essentially, when are we expecting the launch? How long is it going to take until we see the Prime Minister giving out that official launch of 5G services?
Aisha, that clearly depends on how much interested Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in all the exhibition which has been set up inside that particular center which has been created at Pragati Maidan. And we are now seeing in the visuals as well that gradually Prime Minister Narendra Modi is moving towards the other direction where the main stage is. So we can expect that in few minutes from now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will officially be launching the 6th edition of India Mobile Congress, which is going to take place starting from today till 4th of October in the Pragati Maidan in the national capital Delhi. And in fact, we have been told that Prime Minister will officially launch the 5G services on this 6th edition of the same, and then there will be addressing of the event by PM, followed by the other dignitaries as well. In fact, we have been told through the schedule that the top industrialists as well, the top operators as well, they are also expected to address the gathering because there are a lot of people who have been waiting here since this morning to get a glimpse of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In the visuals, clearly now you can see that this is the hall which is full of people. They are waiting to wave a hand to Prime Minister Narendra Modi and also to hear some of the wise words as to what the government is thinking and how they are actually taking a step forward to plan the actual rollout of the service. And he will be actually acquainting us with all the facts, all the backing which has gone into the years, because it is not just a matter of few months, it has been happening for few years now when the preparation for the rollout of the 5G services in entire country actually started, because we have been seeing post 2014 as well that the government has been very proactive in taking the country forward, particularly for the field where it needs to take a step further. So in a short while from now, we are expecting that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will grace the gathering which has been here. All the people are here. This is the room which is full of people. There is this SPG deployed. Nobody is allowed to move beyond a particular point. In fact, the entry and exit gates, they have also been closed by the security officers who have been deployed here. So in a short while while from now we can see that the stage where the chairs have been set up which are currently empty. In a short while from now, all those will be filled by the top leaders of the industry, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi will officially be launching the 6th edition of India Mobile Congress, and also he will officially launch the rollout of the 5G services. But to reiterate the fact, Aisha, by the end of October, in fact by Diwali, we are expecting that the rollout of 5G services, particularly from the Reliance Jio group, is going to take place in 4 of the major cities in the country. So all the people are now gradually waiting, all the eyes now there on the stage where the people are now gradually waiting for Prime Minister finally to come.
All right, Nikhil. Now, so another thing that I'm curious about is how this is really going to impact rural education, because we also remember during the COVID times, we saw many obstacles because people really didn't have access to technology, and now we are launching 5G. So this is something that's going to be very important when it comes to education as well, because it's going to massively boost our capabilities when it comes to education, when it comes to educating the next generation of this country. So what kind of impact are we going to see on the ground when it comes to education?
Well, Aisha, the use of technology and communication in the field of education has been working for years now. But the point that you have raised becomes equally important here, because you have mentioned and you have directly hinted out at the rural areas, because that is the place where the tech.
Thank you so much for giving us all of that information on this. Now I'm also crossing over to Debashish Sarkar, who is joining us. He's the editor of News 18 Tech. Mr. Sarkar, tell us more about how much of a boost this is going to give to us tech-wise, because this is a very exciting moment for India, especially when it comes to tech.
Right, exactly. Thank you so much for having me on the show. And the thing is, we have to first acknowledge the fact that how easily and how quickly 5G just got rolled out in India. It's like just a month back in August, we just saw the spectrum auctions end over a week's time. And then suddenly, right now, we are seeing the 5G launch happening today on 1st October. And by the end of October, like you said, that we are going to see 5G connectivity. For the people living in city, 5G will be mostly limited initially to getting higher mobile data speeds. It's like for watching videos and content and using other applications. But if you look at a wide perspective, especially for rural India, 5G is going to be important. If you're keeping aside the data speed for a moment, what is important is 5G will get low latency, thanks to the fact that we have, all the telecom operators have, shown interest in acquiring 700 megahertz 5G spectrum, and that will help get low latency to places where it is actually required. Now, why low latency is important? Education is one such sector where you have to give real-time tests, as well as real-time you have to consume videos, as well as respond to it. Now, what low latency does that if you're spread across a longer 2 different regions globally, what you hear from one part of the world to what you get to hear right now, there is a lag. And the easiest form of latency can be explained by the fact that if you're using any Bluetooth earphone and if you're streaming something on YouTube, you will find that the movie is, if you're watching a movie, for example, you will see that the video is slightly faster than the audio. So that is the lag that latency will take care of. And this lag is very crucial because for medical use cases, for telesurgery and especially in the healthcare sector and education, if you have this lag, then the entire experience for the end users goes for a toss. And that is why this managing this lag is the first most important thing of 5G. Second, of course, high data speeds. You generally, if you have a mobile internet right now, most of the households in India and rural areas, they don't have broadband. They have a mobile phone, a 4G connectivity, which they use as a portable hotspot to connect to all their applications and go around with the day-to-day needs with the internet. But with 5G, they can actually have access to the high speed that is required to do their business, get information real time. Like one of the best possible use cases of 5G that can think of right now is disaster management. In rural areas, whenever there is some kind of a disaster happening, or if there is some prediction of a disaster like a flood or some storm coming up, the problem is getting the